Now, I'm going to throw this out there. Return of the Living Dead 3, I think, is a fantastic movie because it has nothing really to do with Return of the Living Dead 1 or 2. It stands on its own, and it is... it's Brian Yuzna, right? I said Brian. Yeah. And it is...
For the lowest budget of the 3 movies, definitely the best work.
Oh, yeah.
That they did. It's
and not that Return of the Living Dead didn't change zombie. No. Return of the Living Dead made We Eat Brains, right? Is that true, though? Right?
Yeah, they
before that... Yeah. Before that, there was no zombies eating brains.
George Romero brought you the quintessential zombie that you think of now, the slow-moving, stumbling zombie.
But there was no brain eating.
When it came from eating brains, and
Return of the Living Dead.
The original Return of the Living Dead, though, I can't remember. Russo worked on Return of the Living Dead. He was one of the people that worked on Return of the Living Dead, and he helped film the original.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. He wrote it.
He worked, him and George Romero.
And if I had time right now, I would have pulled out that book, but I didn't prepare it. It's right upstairs in my office.
It wasn't necessarily.
And he signed it.
It wasn't a knock to George Romero, but it was his own what he didn't get to get across.
Right.
And Night, so he had his own little. But
this
zombie trilogies, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, Return of the Dead 3 is it's a good standalone movie. It's a good movie, and it goes back to like the controversy. Not that there's as much controversy as I don't even know why there's controversy with this. It's like Season of the Witch, Halloween 3 stands alone as a movie that should have been just called Season of the Witch. It should not have been in the Halloween trilogy. We get it; they did it for marketing, but this is like that in the sense that it's not really a zombie movie except for the fact that she's a zombie and she's bitching and it's awesome. Now let's move on. Check that one out. We're done with this. Now the next movie I'm going to have Jake just talk about because he knows a lot about it more than I do because he remembers it more than I do. He's seen it more recently than I did. I know the original, and we're going to talk about the sequel that I'm holding right here, but the original, creepy as crap.
Oh, man.
Creepy as crap. The second one, though, is more Halloween themed, I would say.
Yeah.
But the first one is more like...
It's more serious.
Serious, like creepy. Anyway, it's House 2.
The first movie is out to scare the shit out of you.
This is House 2, the second story. Anyone that knows me, I love the good puns. Second story, It's getting weirder. And they used actually, and he pointed this out to me, they used the exact same poster, and they just put a 2 on it.
Once again, they used the same marketing.
But it's not the same house, but they blatantly tell you it's not the same house, because it says it's an all-new house. Not meaning new movie, that too, but actually a new house with brand new owners.
They use the same setup for the cover art, and that's the same. This isn't just for the DVD. That's the same. This is basically the same poster they used when the movie came out in theaters.
Now, talk about the first movie and then the second movie. First, do it briefly, I guess.
Right.
Do it in a minute if you can.
I'm gonna try to sum it up. That House 1 was definitely this. Of the two, this is more of the comedy. It's a horror comedy. The first was a straight horror thriller, and I would actually say it was one of the actual first horror thrillers. It took a person in a real life situation for the time. The main character in the first movie was a Vietnam vet and a writer, and the movie takes place while he's writing this book about his experiences in the Vietnam War. And he had some terrible experiences in the Vietnam War, and basically he moves back into his parents' house while he's writing this book. And everything from his past comes back to haunt him through this house, which is basically a dimensional portal. He loses his kid, gets kidnapped. This terrible things happen to this guy in the first house. So he survives. He ends up becoming a hero, an unsung hero. But some of the most scary imagery between kids drowning. You have dead ex-girlfriends coming back to life underneath tables. You have creepy imagery of just falling through windows, like Vertigo style filmmaking. He's stuck in a jungle when he travels through.
That's right. That scene is ridiculous.
He gets stuck in a bamboo cage.
I know.
And there's he's in his PJs and he's stuck in a bamboo cage, and he has to save his kid, and he's in another realm. And his best friend, who he left to die during Vietnam, comes back as a zombie and chases him through the house.
And the fact that it's the greatest American hero.
Yeah. He has to be the greatest American hero. But the second one takes a whole different turn. Which is why I brought to Dan's attention, is because when it comes to the obscure Halloween movies, this is definitely one of my favorites. I don't wait for this time of year to watch it. I've watched this movie hundreds of times, and it's great. It's a fun time. It doesn't have any slow moments in it. It's got a lot of dialogue. It's your quintessential 80s, mid 80s movie, but it just does everything so well.
And you actually watch the movie, you're intrigued what the hell's going to happen. And for a PG-13 movie,
Right.
it's a good PG-13 movie. Like, oh, the crap out today that's PG-13 sucks.
This was this was the last horror film that Royal Dano did. You'll remember Royal Dano. He was in movies, for example, was Killer Clowns from Outer Space. He was the old
Yes.
man. He was in Ghoulies
Another
2.
movie not on my list.
He was
By the way, I
in
have about
Ghoulies
15 other movies not on my list, and we're not going to make this video any longer than it is. But if you've been watching this long, that's fantastic.
And if you watch this movie and you can figure out who Royal Dano is before the end of the movie, before the credits, you'll be shocked to find out which character Royal Dano actually is, because of how great the makeup is in this. Once again, practical makeup effects.
Very true.
Very huge. It's comedy. It's a lot of it's tongue in cheek. It likes poking fun of itself, but it doesn't. It's not a movie within a movie. It's not aware.
Right.
It's having fun. It adds some slapstick, but it still has the intrigue of the first movie, where this house is then this movie is a Mayan temple, where the person who had this house, he had a crystal skull, on the 2 Mayan crystal skulls. Well, it's actually a real thing, and they're all the mystical powers. So this house is actually a dimensional portal, and everybody wants this skull throughout all time and space. Wants this skull, so they will trap. Then they can use this house as a portal to come and get the skull. So it's a chase scene with different monsters and different themes. So you go from they get stuck in a prehistoric jungle upstairs on the 2nd floor, and then by the end of the movie, in the 3rd floor, he's in the Wild West.
Yeah, so
having a shootout.
Oh, wait, that's time travel. I like that.
So yeah,
but I'm not going any further, which is awesome. But
it has the greatest Halloween scene of all the 80s movies.
But the director and writer actually respects your intelligence with this movie.
Yeah,
like
he does.
They're playing to the genre. They're playing to the audience, and if you're watching this video, you get we're that audience.
This is a great haunted house movie.
Yeah, good way to put it.
That you can laugh at.
Yes.
It's one of the best parts. They're downstairs having a conversation. Jesse McLaughlin is the main character's name, and
by the way, Jake loves this movie.
If you can't tell, they go dig up his great grandfather who was buried with the last crystal skull, and he wakes up and he's a zombie, and he helps carry on the rest of this. He's the patriarch of this undead patriarch of this family in this house.
I heard if you play it backwards, you actually see Indiana Jones in there holding one of the skulls.
Well, the first time that
in better CGI than the actual crystals.
The first time Grandpa's telling them all about these stories, they're downstairs and having this throwback of hearing old tales of the Old West. Jesse McLaughlin, his good buddy Charlie, who becomes their first house guest, and they're downstairs talking to Grandpa, and they come upstairs after a long storytelling, drinking a bunch of beers. They go up to get more beers for Grandpa, but when they get upstairs, the house, and it's this big mansion house, and the house is full of people, and everybody's in costumes. And Charlie the Death Machine looks at his buddy Jesse, who's like completely pissed off, and is like, "Oh, I invited a bunch of people over for Halloween, but forgot to tell you. Sorry, have a good time." And it's just a Halloween party just breaks out in the middle of this. It's an awesome time.
All right, guys.
Recommend it.
Yes, absolutely.
You can find it. Go on Amazon.
No. Link below.
You have Amazon on there.
Yeah, but you link below. I'm trying to pay your kid's future, you retard.
Amazon's on the right. Can't they just
right, left, no, down? If you're on your mobile phone, scroll. And if you touch enough, it'll vibrate. And me and Jake made you feel that way. All right, guys. Thanks for watching this.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. I'm glad Jake came over. And guess what? I think this is something I want to continue to do, and if you like it, comment below. And trust me, between me and Jake, we have millions of movies in our brains. And, sometimes I need another brain, because my brain doesn't work.
Obscure horror is great to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a better time of year to do it. I would honestly say if you get enough good feedback, I would definitely come back and bring some more movies to the table.
Right, so now we'll talk about, next time, we'll talk about horror movies on Valentine's Day.
Cheers.
Audrey Hepburn loves you.